the more chefs I had on the ground, the more chefs I worked with and used Cura, the more scalable personalized nutrition could be. So you can go on to Cura and basically look for a chef and adjust the meal based on what's good for you or what you think is good for you.
We have set a new record.
Welcome to the next episode of
Welcome
Pan Con Podcast.
to Pan Con Podcast. I am Nick Jimenez. I am joined by chef and chili cook-off champion in 8th grade, basketball MVP, Michael Beltrán. We are recording this podcast in record time, 53 minutes after our scheduled start time. And I got to say, records were meant to be broken. Prepare for our hour-late podcast coming up at some point in the next few episodes. We are joined by a very special guest, José Manuel. Do you pronounce the E at the end of your name?
Perrone. Yeah.
Perrone, that's what I thought. Yeah, José Manuel Perrone. Because I ran into my cousin who went to Belén with you, and he told me he wasn't sure.
Well, they just call me Perrone.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's where the confusion is. Yeah. I don't do that. I don't play these lazy pronunciation games.
Let me ask you, does Belén have a sponsorship of this podcast in some way? I mean, we're not even 2 minutes in. You've already dropped the Belén reference. They're already in there.
They don't, but my cousins sponsor the podcast, so I just drop those references whenever I can too.
All right.
We're joined by José Manuel Perrone, co-founder of Cura Cura.
Both work.
Cura Market, Cura Market. I will leave it to Jose to tell us what that even is. But I will say that the way that we came across each other was we recently recorded our first ever live podcast. So I reached out to you about how you could be involved in that, and all the guests at that podcast went home with some products that you made for past guest Norman Van Aken.
That's right.
This is where I step out. I'm not going to say any more things unless I absolutely must.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know you're excited about this.
So good.
That's all I got.
Man, first of all, thanks for bearing with Nick. It took him an hour to set up today. That's record timing, and I think that's amazing. That's really good.
He's a perfectionist. He likes to do everything right.
Of being late. He is a perfectionist of many things. So, first of all, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I think I'm still shocked every time people agree to come on the show, and it's always nice to see. So, Miami native?
Yep.
Okay. Born and raised here. Obviously, you went to Belén. We already dropped that reference in here. What happened?
Actually, born in Ecuador. I moved to Miami when I was around 6 years old.
Oh,
basically
okay.
Raised here. Yeah.
Yeah. So majority of your life, but
Yeah.
born in Ecuador, moved here when you were 6. High school here, and then where'd you go for college?
I went to 2 colleges. I went to Loyola University of Chicago. A lot of people know.
Yeah.
And then Notre Dame after.
Oh, no big deal. That's cool. Notre Dame. How was Notre Dame?
I loved it, man. I loved the experience of going from a big city, living that big city lifestyle in Chicago. I'm a big fan of Chicago. Chef Norman's from Chicago. I've talked to him about it a lot. Notre Dame was more of a small college town, so it was a good change of scenery. I love it. Yeah, I loved it. A lot colder than I expected, though.
And then you came back to Miami afterwards.
No, I actually worked in California for a couple years. I worked for a company called Intel. It's like that chip company, computer company. And yeah, then came back after. I was away for about 7 years, and now I've been back for 3 years.
Amazing. So tell us, how did we end up with? How did you say it? Cura.
Yeah, man, it's been one hell of a journey.
Well, tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Tell us what is the thing? How did you get to the thing? Why?
The why.
The why is always a good question I ask people.
Yeah, I mean, how far back do you want me to go?
I mean, I don't know. Were you just did you have a couple drinks one day? Or you know what? I really have this idea of this place called Cura. Yeah, no. I mean, tell me where'd the idea come from? Why? And the whole,
the whole shebang. So it started at Intel, so in California. I was, in my background by trade, I was electrical engineering. So you would think Intel is every electrical engineer's dream job. And I really enjoyed it for the most part. but it wasn't very. I wouldn't say it was fulfilling. It wasn't fulfilling. And I was looking for something that I could really die happy with, and I wanted to do something that I was truly passionate about, and I can give it my all. It wasn't until my dad suffered from an ischemic stroke that I realized it kind of lit a fire under me, and I decided, one, I wanted to go back to be closer to family and see my little brother grow up. I had been away for 7 years, like I said, so I just wanted to take that time. I had been working really, really hard to get that job, and it kind of, when you work really hard, you kind of sacrifice a few things, family being one of them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a step back, move back, be close with family, and figure out what that thing was. I really wasn't sure. I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted it to be in health. I wanted it to somehow better protect my family from disease. And I promise I'll come full circle on how I believe nutrition and Cura is doing that.
Cool.
But that was the initial goal, and I didn't really know where or what kind of solution I would come up with. So I just started testing things, kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing if it's stuck. So I started with really interviewing people, better understanding preventable diseases like strokes specifically. So I spoke with different doctors, specialists in the field. I traveled a bit. And I learned that you can really boil down preventing disease in 4 pillars. The mind, so mental health, monitoring that mental health. It can, your mind can actually cause you to get sick. The body, moving enough, whatever. It can be different sort of physical activity. Nutrition, which is what I ended up doing. And then the last one is recovering enough. And I started testing a few different things, and I realized that people just want to live their lives. A lot of the things I first made kind of glossed over their eyes. They kind of glossed over it. But when I started to work with local chefs, just to take a step back, nutrition is one of those pillars. And I wanted to, there's been very little innovation in the field of nutrition, specifically personalized nutrition. There's a lot we can do in preventing disease and just helping people live a better life through personalizing food. So I started working with local chefs, and basically what I did is, through the relationship with the local chefs, these are at-home chefs, I would customize the food based on a select group, basically my family and friends' needs. And that can be through gene sequencing, just understanding what their predispositions are, and then I would work with these chefs to do a custom meal. And for the most part, that started taking off in the sense that people love the experience of having a personal chef without having to pay a lot of money to do it. So slowly but surely, I realized I got to work with more chefs. And I thought the story behind Cura really stands for being a caretaker. Some people interpret it as the ultimate cure, or some people know Cura as a priest. But really, fundamentally, it comes down to the words stemmed from the idea of taking care of people. So that was always the mission. How do I better take care of people? And eventually, after testing a bunch of different ideas, I realized, okay, there's a possibility to build a personalized marketplace working with chefs. And Cura Market was born, and I started working with chefs, and basically, the more chefs I had on the ground, the more chefs I worked with, and use Cura, the more scalable personalized nutrition could be. So you can go onto Cura and basically look for a chef and adjust the meal based on what's good for you or what you think is good for you. Mm-hmm. But long story short, when we started working with any business comes its challenges. I'm sure you know firsthand.
Yep.
And the money that we were making through Cura Market was still very, very low, very unsustainable. There's a lot of challenges. Oftentimes, when we would send too many orders to chefs, to home chefs, they're limited to the amount that they can output per week. So they basically were asking us no more. And it was challenging because we want them to be able to serve as many people as possible. But then we also get into the food and cottage guidelines. Are you familiar with those?
No.
So every state has their rules and regulations about what you can sell from your home kitchen. And they call them the Food Cottage Guidelines. In Florida, we're pretty strict on what you can sell from the comfort of your home. Basically, it boils down to pastries, things that don't have any dairy in it, meat, etc. So you're very limited to what you can make at what
Super
kind of
limited.
Yeah, super limited. Other states are starting to open it up, specifically in San Francisco, also in New York. They're opening it up. You can start selling some meat, so that's good. So it wasn't until we basically started working with someone had basically approached us and asked us, "Hey, I love this idea of starting my own virtual brand." So let me take a step back. Have I explained Cura Market, at least from your perspective?
I kind of get the overall thing. It's like personalized meals for what somebody's needs are and what their goals are long term, and then basically there are individual chefs that are executing those things, and then that's being sent out to people.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And people started comparing us a little bit to Reef Kitchens. I'm sure we probably will get into, because this idea where we were helping people spin up concepts relatively easily, like different brands. So they're like, "Are you kind of like a Reef Kitchens?" And I'm like, "No, we're not. We're fundamentally different." But because of that comparison, another long story short, an influencer basically has had this idea of coming out with her own brand. And this will be the first time that we've ever done something that we've taken on a project where we basically manufactured the product and then we're responsible to distribute the product. And over time, we had built a relationship with a licensed kitchen, so we could do that. And we had built a relationship with a fulfillment center. So we said, let's give it a try. Like, we love to test different ideas. And this was the first product that we launched that was shelf stable. It was no longer perishable good. It wasn't something that you would order from a local chef. It's something that you can buy anywhere in the U.S.
Right.
And you were able to ship it nationwide. It was granola.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Marce Holistica. She was the first. We like to call the people we work with creator or influencer. The first person so Chef Norman was the third creator that we worked with.
So basically, they put together a product. You guys figure out logistics. You figure out the actual execution of the product, and then fulfillment across the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. What was the second? The first one was granola. What was the second?
It was an energy bite. A
Bite?
Granola energy bites. These little power bites.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I usually like those. I eat a good amount of those.
We'll bring you some.
Yeah. They don't always taste good, but they get like the job done, right?
I promise you'll like these.
Okay, that's good. I know the ones that I've personally made. They're literally just to get the job done. Yeah. I don't know. I know that sounds terrible, but
You're killing your chances of getting a Cura Market granola energy bite deal here.
I'm not the guy for that. I could do other things, but not really that. So then Chef Norman was the third.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tell me how that was working with Chef throughout that process. I can tell you I know those sauces very well because I've made them plenty of times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Way back?
It was rum and pepper paint, right?
Yeah.
And
Mango mojo.
Mango mojo. I know the dishes. I know the... Yep.
How far back do you guys go? How many years?
10 now, I think. 10.
Amazing.
10-ish years. But I mean, when I met him, I was just prep cook, so I was prepping. During the podcast that we just did with him, I remember when I made rum and pepper paint for the first time, and I lit that shit on fire, and I thought I was gonna blow the entire kitchen up, and I was scared. But it's a lot of rum that goes in there. But it was. And then in the other restaurant I worked with him, both those things were on the menu as well. So we did them again there. Super versatile. So tell me about that. How that, I mean, I know he has those recipes down to like a T.
Yeah.
But it's more like getting other people to do those recipes on a large scale, and then what fulfillment looked like, and like how many pieces you had to order previously to have them ready to ship. How does that work?
He hasn't officially launched. So you guys got the sneak peek. Right.
I didn't even try anything. Nick took all of my shit. I didn't try anything. Just Nick took my entire bag.
I got to take pictures of all the things.
Shout out to all of our sponsors that I tried none of your stuff because Nick took it all. So, thanks for that. That's why I'm not going to give you a shout out for real.
It was a great event, though. Really well. It went
cool.
really well. Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to get you some for sure. But I mean, we love working with Chef Norman. We plan on working with him for a very, very long time. He's actually, believe it or not, helped us create new recipes for other creators.
I believe it.
So he's got his own lab. We call it the lab back at his place, and he loves to create. Man, the guy's passionate about food, and he's like the best person you can ever work with in terms of. They call him the founding father of New World cuisine for a reason, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's really one of the founding fathers of South Florida cuisine in general. You know, just like everything that we do here, he paved the way, and so many others paved the way with him for us to be able to do the stuff that we do now every day. Without them, there is no us, or we would be like 20 years behind.
Amazing.
So, but then tell me about the process. So,
Yeah.
you know, he showed you the recipe, and then did you large batch the recipe and then have him taste it? Because that would be one of my biggest concerns, to large batch a recipe, because as soon as you start to go up, especially the way that he cooks, because he likes like Scotch bonnets and like things that change everything in an entire recipe.
Right.
How did that work out?
So normally the way we work is that we have pre-existing recipes. So we give creators a pre-existing, because normally, I mean, Chef Norman is was at the time the first chef that we ever worked with. So he came in with an existing recipe, which made our lives easier, but to some degree, because now we had to make sure it was up to his standards.
Yep.
Right. So
I know how that is.
So we were a little bit nervous about that, but we're happy that we were able to execute and follow the instructions well. But normally the way that it works is recipe development is usually the longest part of the process. The fact that we were able to jump right through that, I mean, once we prepared the sample and sent it over to him and he approved it, great, we got it down. We can move on to the next step, which usually we do it in parallel, which is designing the package, designing the custom label.
I did see the package and it was cool.
Yeah, so the cool thing about that is...
Before Nick took it. Right.
Chef Norman actually had this design already made. So this is
I'm
really,
not shocked.
Yeah, man, this is... we're bringing it back, I don't know how many years it's been. But it was about to launch, and just unfortunately a number of things happened, and they just weren't able to go through with it. So we talked about the idea of just redesigning the original design, but we just fell in love with it, and what's the word I'm looking for? It was vintage. It was really. We felt it was just right. So we were able to move really quickly with Chef Norman. We had everything from the recipe, the design. From there, we got the packaging. We have a few suppliers that we work with. We ordered them or a few different samples for him to test. He chose which jar he likes the best. We put it together, and then we start preparing for the actual launch. So creating content is the name of the game. So really creating a lot of content, doing photography, announcing it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Chef Norman would sometimes post on his channel and let people know, hey, I'm working on bringing this sauce back. So just building that excitement around it. And then we're just about ready to launch now.
Like when is just about ready?
This week.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Remember, none of these things are posted like tomorrow. I don't know.
Oh yeah, so it depends on when you're listening
to the producer about editing and how it gets released. But he's a Belen guy, so you never know. I have some interesting questions, and you can answer or not answer. That's totally fine.
I like when somebody says their own questions are going to be interesting.
I think it's interesting because I'm intrigued, so they're interesting to me. How do the finances work here? So let's say Nick wants to create a kit of how someone should not shave their beard at home.
Oh, I was thinking the steak and risotto kit.
Oh man, that fucking thing. So he builds this kit for you. He has this idea. He sends you over this idea. He's creating what the kit should look like. How do both sides financially benefit from this step, right? How do you financially benefit? How does the creator, or in this case, Nick, benefit from that. And then when it goes to large-scale production and then to actual official rollout, how do the finances work in all those phases? So, like, how much are you selling a jar for?
Oh, well, that I can't share just yet. Okay. I can't share. That's between Chef and Norman and us. But no, we basically we lower the barrier to entry when it comes to launching any sort of food brand right now, right? So normally you have to, I mean, from the recipe development, you know this, I'm sure, firsthand. It can cost you anything from $500 to $1,000 or more, right? Depending on who you're working with and how many iterations you go with. Once you get the recipe down, if you don't have a licensed kitchen, you got to go and find a licensed kitchen, right? Or go find a co-packer, go find the right suppliers, then go find the designer. The designer can cost you anywhere between, again, like $500 and upwards. I mean, normally for quality design, when it comes to building the actual logo and the look and feel of the brand, it can go anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot you invest in something that's your baby. Then you have the marketing team, you have the customer service, you have the fulfillment center.
Right.
So a lot of these things we de-risk because we already have it in-house. And it's almost unbelievable, but the sweet spot we've been able to find is that people come to us with an idea and they request a sample. And the sample package, we include up to 3 iterations. This is not really what Chef Norman went through. He went through another experience altogether.
Sure.
But normally,
just give it to me like I'm Joe Schmo.
Exactly. So Joe Schmo. Normally, how it would work, it would range between $300 to $400, depending on the package, the recipe, the sample package, right? And with that comes the 3 iterations of the actual recipe, like what you end up launching with. Let's say it's granola, a hot sauce, a different type of sauce.
Cool.
You go through three different iterations. We hardly get it right the first time, right?
Right.
And
Neither do we.
And we actually now have some software around it, so you can build the recipe from your house. So you can just...
So it's software?
Yeah. Just like few questions that we ask, and then based on that, we'll put together the recipe.
Cool.
In that initial sample package, we cover the custom packaging. So we have our own graphic designers that do a lot of that heavy lifting. It includes the actual container that your product is going to go in. It includes testing the shelf life,
but not the product jarred or however packaged yet, right?
Yeah, I didn't know we were talking about hot tea in this weather.
Thank you, bro.
He's an aggressive man. Man,
whatever you got, this is the Cura right here. Gonna burn it right out of you.
So basically, you're going to give them a sample of the recipe, but it wouldn't be in the actual packaging yet. You're just going to give them options for the package, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not until the final launch, but we get it as close as possible because we got to be ready. Once you decide, is when we have to order everything in bulk and all that. There's a number. So anyway, we also do the shelf life testing, and we do the nutrition facts label for you. We calculate the nutrition facts for you. Let's see if I'm forgetting anything else. That includes also we set up the e-commerce site, so the web page. We can connect it to an existing site, and yeah. So once that's all done, and you find, we're happy with the result. The way that we sustain ourselves is through a profit sharing agreement.
Sure.
Normally we do 60-40 split. So we start with 60% goes to the creator. We just believe that's, and again, people will criticize us time and time again and saying it should be the other way around, but we believe that that's the way, we just believe that's the way it should be.
I'll tell you that I think that that's very generous.
Thank you.
I mean, just, it's generous. Because
we do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Well, I'm just like consuming it all. Like people always have like a thing. They have an idea. Like Nick's beard kit, right? He's got this idea. He's been sitting on this idea for years. Those steps that you've taken, it's a lot of tedious, time-consuming work to figure out how the fuck to make all that work.
Yeah.
So then you are a very complicated and complex middleman. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we make it simple. Yeah.
Right, you make all the complicated shit for someone that's got like, I have a great hot sauce, I have a great mustard, I have a great whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and you simplify it to them for I don't know, $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's pretty dope. I mean, I would say that should be intriguing to a lot of people, especially the split. Like,
Thank you.
I'm intrigued to see how you make that work. 60-40 for someone else.
Thank you.
You know, and I know that I'd be like, what about 50-50? 50-50's fine. You know, like, I don't know. It's just, that's cool.
The way it works, the thing is, our sweet spot, like in any business, you have to start with normally big accounts. So normally we work with creators that have, and really the name of the game in today's market, in terms of our business model, is working with people who have a large community. That can be on TikTok, Instagram,
Sure.
YouTube, you name it.
All of my
Discord,
favorite things.
all of your favorite things. Exactly.
Favorite things.
Are you a gamer?
My TikTok is lit. So is Nick's.
I
Right?
believe it.
None of us have the following of
Super
Petey's
lit.
OnlyFans. Petey's OnlyFans, though, is
Oh, you got OnlyFans. Yeah, there you go.
Just
So-
Petey. But, you know, he's crushing it.
So when it comes to really how we make the business work is that we work with creators that have a very large community. Anything, we go as, normally it's like 300,000. Really, we're learning the sweet spot is above, like closer to 1 million.
Million what?
Followers.
So me and Nick are not in that. Nick, we don't qualify. We're not in there.
Not yet, man. But
No, I'm totally fine with just having, like, none. But that's cool.
But no, we're opening it up. I mean, the fact is, Chef Norman, he's a legend, and this is, we were talking to someone else who was asking us these same questions. It's like, do you only work with these type of people? Normally, yes, we do. But there's always edge cases, and Chef Norman was someone we want to work with for a number of reasons. So just because of the history and
I mean, I would tell you, I don't even know. I'm sure Norman's got a good following on social media. I'm not sure, but it equally works for the both of you because it adds credibility to your brand.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, Norman's been a legend for 30 years.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you're new on the block.
Yeah.
You know, which there's plenty of great new ideas, but they all need to gain their footing so people could be like, okay, that's cool. I can actually work with this person. Like, you know, you align yourself with someone like Chef Norman and everyone's like, okay, yeah, I mean, if this guy, then, you know, maybe I should.
If he's happy with it, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean.
Norman's going to blow up, by the way, again. And in the next, by the end of this year, he's going to be everywhere.
Norman is going to be everywhere again?
Again, yeah.
Jeez. I mean, I find
the number of opportunities are coming his way. It's honestly, like, I'll let him tell you, but.
and that makes me thrilled to hear because he deserves that and more.
Yeah.
But I think it's an equally beneficial partnership for you and for him too, because, you know, he's got tons of knowledge and things that he's done for years that I think it would only make sense for a larger portion of people to be able to try that more so than just the South Florida market, you know?
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. Like, I love that. That's it's a very interesting business model.
Thank you.
I wish I could look at your P&L and see how that works, but I mean, it's intriguing.
Have you tried launching your own virtual brand?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do have my own personal brand, and
virtual.
Oh, virtual? No, I mean, I usually just use like anything virtual for just emails.
I was wanting to chime in. You hasn't launched.
Yeah.
It's not food, but Scoop Records will have an e-commerce component.
You know, I'm not totally sure yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the problem... Okay.
All right.
Thanks for just totally blowing that up. But I'm just... What I'm saying...
I thought that was public stuff.
Yeah, no, Scoop Records is going to be a retail store for records, and obviously we're going to have a lot of delicious ice cream by Chef Devin. But the idea of, like, records, like, I mean, I want, like, 80% of our records to be old and used. I don't want, like, repressed stuff.
Okay.
So I'm working with someone, a very good friend of mine, that's got a very extensive collection, and he's going to help me buy some collections, so then that's what we start selling at the beginning. So the problem is that, like, if I have a Coltrane that's a first press that's worth $300, I'm only going to have one of those. Or if you're lucky enough to get, like, an MF Doom, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if Kendrick drops a new album and you buy 10 of those, they're all going to sell, so maybe that's what's on the e-commerce website. It's a very interesting thing because, like, for me, our main focus there is definitely going to be ice cream, right? the record portion of that on top is just to make the concept fun and more interesting. And honestly, I'm a little selfish because I'm a record head, so I wanted that. But to be able to keep up with that, it takes a lot of day-to-day maintenance that I don't know if we're built to do. And thanks, Nick, for that. That's so good to remind me how much I hate that whole fact. That's good.
I get the feeling you're going to figure it out.
I mean, listen, you could figure it out, right? But it'll take time. Like, I don't know if it's something that we could figure out from day one.
Yeah.
Adding an e-commerce aspect to that would be like posting it on social media saying that you're selling it for $20 and then trying to sell it through there. That's pretty much it. Like, having to upload it to a website and the whole thing, I don't really see us doing that because we're not just a record store. If we were just going to be a record store, then I would have to approach it completely different, like a retail space with just records.
Right.
But we're a food operation. You know, the real star of that show is going to be the 6 to 8 different flavors of ice cream and the 2 flavors of soft serve.
Wow.
Those are the stars. The other stuff is just really fun and cool. You know, I don't know how many record store / ice cream shops do you know? No. How about you? Zero. Okay. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to bring up.
Can't wait, man. I mean, how many? Was this your first baby?
Ariette is my first child.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's reluctant and a pain in the ass, but she's, you know, it's been.
Are you happy? Are you proud?
I mean, every day, incredibly.
You should be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like you said, there's a lot of bumps in the road with any new business, and I think restaurants specifically, at the beginning, they deal with a very like a huge high, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is great," and like we're so busy, we're gonna fucking crush it, and then the bottom drops out from under you. The bottom in all of them, in the best concepts to the best restaurants, the ones that are, it's incredibly rare for someone to just crush it from day one and have a line out the door every day. It's very tough to do that. It's like, I mean, a 1 in a million kind of thing, and good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I did not experience that. None of my restaurants have experienced that. They've all been like, start off very well, hit year 2, it's a struggle. Year 3, you see an increase. Year 4, you see an increase. You just got to be a good business person.
Right.
You have to like, and that's kind of the thing is that when you're a day-to-day operator, you have to, you know, for me, it's take your head out of the cutting board and start to assess like, how do we make this business survive, and how do we make it better, and how do we operate better?
And
it's like that for any business.
And align yourself with good people. Seems like you got a great team around you.
I have an amazing team, an incredible team. I have incredible partners, which is also super rare and not common. And, you know, I obviously I had hurdles there too. But when you get lucky, you get lucky. It's the people that make the place. And that's the reality of it. Because if it was just me, this shit wouldn't be here. Without a doubt.
Well, the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? That's what they say?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure you got some great stories with Chef Norman and on the rise.
To repeat one of my best coach's quotes, you know, luck is just when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I get lucky every day, but I have been prepared for every single opportunity that was thrown at me. And sometimes, you know, you don't nail it all the time, but as long as you're somewhat there and you're somewhat prepared and you have the work ethic to do it, you'll fight through it. You'll fight through it. Yeah, I mean, Chef and I went back forever, and he, like, coached me. Scott, did you walk all the way around? Yeah. You just walk through, man. Yeah, just walk through it. Nah, fuck that. Everyone deserves to see your mohawk anyways. I mean, I owe the guy a lot for my whole career. But again, when you make those sacrifices to work for those kind of people, because you know it's going to be tough, and you know that it's just going to be worth it at the end, then you do it. You know.
What's your North Star? Like what's
I've never heard that term. What does that mean by my North Star?
Like what gets you through the challenges? I'm going to push through it because this is what I'm going towards.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. Okay.
It's not quite a North Star.
No. I mean, I think being I mean, there's no blueprint for a chef that's opening up a restaurant. Like,
yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Just alive. You know, like, you fought through all the shit and you just made it. Like, any chef that could say like my goal. I mean, I guess personal goals is I want to open a very small, incredibly fine dining restaurant. Like that's it. But even if that never happens, I reached my goal when I was 24. My goal was sitting next to it.
Amazing.
But then at that point, goals change.
Right.
You know, like you've already reached it. So are you just
what's next?
So you're gonna be good there. And I'm obviously very proud of where we got to. But then it's like, what's the next thing?
I wonder. So I think it's an interesting question. The North Star thing. I guess your North Star can change over time, but I imagine that like at the time that was your goal, you might not have thought that you were going to get there when you were 24. It probably seemed farther off.
No, what I'm saying, that was when I was 24 or 23, my goal was to open up a restaurant. And actually, I still, because, whatever, I write a lot of my thoughts within all of my notebooks. And, my goal was to open up a restaurant that had X, Y, and Z in it, and it should look like this. And if you were to read those notes from when I was 23 or 24, it's exactly this. So then, but you get there, and then your goal at that point is to not fucking close. Not close, serve the best food that you can, provide the best service you can, provide the best experience you can. And then when you're doing that and you're nailing that, then your goals change. I'd love to win a Beard Award. I'd love to win a Michelin star. I'd love to do that. But those goals are kind of like outside of our reach and sometimes outside of reality. Like I would love to do all those things, but sometimes you just don't get there. Sometimes people don't give credit to the people that deserve it. And I'm not just speaking about myself. I'm speaking about a lot of other people. And you just kind of move on. Because, again, as we get older, goals change.
Right.
My goals are really to build a company that I can be incredibly proud of, which I have. And I think that we do a great job. But also is to provide a place for all of my employees that really love to come to work every day and feel like they love their job.
Yeah,
and just amazing. And to know that they're being challenged, to know that it's never going to be easy, but at the same time they're working in a place that they could be proud of. Right. I think is a huge goal and worth more than any award on the planet.
100%. Yeah.
Maybe not any. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We never know. I mean, just talking about the Michelin star, I've heard that Miami is changing. We're getting, potentially the culture will be ready for that. I mean, I know that's another topic in and of itself, right?
No, I mean, the culture is ready. I think the city is ready to at least be rated.
Yeah, okay.
To at least be, for them to come here and try our shit. I don't think that there's we've talked about this an exhausting amount on this podcast, is are there enough places? I don't know. But I guess we'll see. Time will tell. I mean, you can't can't harp on things that are outside of your control.
Right. That's very smart. Know what you can control.
But the landscape is changing. So what's, I guess, to use the Belen term, what's your North Star?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't know if that's a Belen term, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Man, it's always been, what keeps me going is this idea that I'm getting closer to building that company that would do what I originally set out to do, which was better protect my family from disease. With every launch, I mean, for a very long time, I couldn't go, and I still sometimes can't go into the supermarket and look at these brands with all the pesticides and all that. What gets me out of bed every morning knowing that with each brand that I help launch, it's another product that I'm more comfortable with my family having, right? It doesn't have the pesticides. That'll help protect them. So I continue doing that. And there's more that I want to do in terms of the future of Cura. But that's the North Star. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is still the beginning for you. How long have you been doing this?
It's almost a little over 2 years now. Yeah. Over 2 years. Yeah.
Still early.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a long time to figure out what I guess the end game North Star would be. And I said, I'm 6 years into this, and I don't know if I could tell you a definitive this is exactly where I want to be. I have no fucking clue, to be honest. I just know I do wake up with daily goals, and I guess my goal every day is to make sure that we're operating at a certain level that we can all be proud of. And I think day-to-day goals for me are much more important than long-term. Because the long-term goal right now is that we have to open up Chugs, and then after that we have to open up our downtown location, and that those are if I had to think past that, I would probably run my head straight into a wall. Because those things are in my face. They're very important, and they need to be figured out, and they're high priority. I guess you would. I don't want to, I'm not a daydreamer. I'm just an overall
You execute. Yeah.
Hopefully, most of the time.
No, clearly, man, it shows. And what's helping you get through those those new projects? Are you considering doing reef kitchens or anything else?
Never.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Never. I would never give Reef any of my money.
I'd love to talk. I mean, I was talking to Nick about this earlier. I knew
Sure.
we were going to get into it, but
Yeah, I mean, what is it that you know about Reef?
I mean, I've done a bit of research of where they came from. I knew they started off as a parking lot management software. They basically had a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
And now they've started to optimize the space. They got these little pods. Now they're getting into all sorts of things like reef kitchens, I think reef clinics. I mean, they were originally, from what I learned, they were originally called Park Jockey, something like that.
Oh, yeah?
Park Jockey.
Okay.
You
I kind of remember that vaguely.
And after they got a lot of funding by this company called SoftBank, this bank actually, they rebranded into Reef. I guess the idea is that they're building an ecosystem. But other than that, I've heard a number of people tell me they've had, unfortunately, a terrible experience working with them.
Which doesn't shock me, because at the end of the day, they are just a real estate company, right? So all they're trying to do is maximize their property value by saying, we're going to help it. And what I cannot stand is when someone sells you a fucking bill of goods. Just fucking shoot me straight here. Don't beat around the bush. Be honest. What is it that you really need? You really need me to pay you a percentage of my fucking sales. You're not trying to help me execute my dream. If my dream of opening a restaurant was supposed to be in this fucking 10 by 10 box, putting shit in a fucking plastic box to give it to a shitty Uber driver, to treat it like shit, to get to some fucking
Now
house
we're getting started.
in 30 fucking minutes, right? And it's going to be fucking cold. I'm very sorry. That's not my fucking dream.
100%, yeah. Of course.
So
yeah.
don't sell me a bill of goods. We're going to help you achieve your dream. Fuck you. Straight up. That's not my dream. That's your dream. You know why? Because I'm increasing your property value. Shoot me straight.
Yeah.
This is what you want. You're a real estate company. How so many companies all benefit from real estate, right? McDonald's. Right. McDonald's is the perfect example. Listen, I'm not talking shit about McDonald's. They do McDonald's jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they own, I think, the most real estate in the world. Right?
I didn't know that, but good to know.
I'm almost positive. They buy the property, and the franchisee buys the franchise from them. They put it on there. Then the franchisee pays them rent, and then they have to pay. Then they pay franchising fees, and then they have to receive all their product from McDonald's, the company. Tell me where they lose money. They do not. Right? And then on top of that, the franchisee makes a fuck ton of money. They're what they get back is anywhere between 10 to 15%.
Wow. Okay, so they're in there for a long time. Yeah.
I mean, they're making money from day one. It's a proven model, and McDonald's benefits. So good for them. But McDonald's doesn't lie and say, "Hey, listen, we're going to sell you your dream."
Right.
They don't. They said, "We're going to sell you a fucking McDonald's." That to me is the thing, and I just can't.
When did they approach you?
Who?
Reef or
Never.
No.
Oh, come on.
But through friends of friends,
No, I just know friends of friends, the selling of the dream. It's just like the food hall, the selling of the dream. Open your dream restaurant. Motherfucker, if a counter was my dream restaurant, I don't know, man. And listen, I'm sure for some people it may be.
Yeah.
It may be, but for me it's not. So, and then also you're going to take 30% of my sales. I can't sell any Bev. I can't sell any NA Bev. This is food halls. It's totally different, but can't sell any NA Bev, and then you're gonna spot 3 bars in the middle of this location that you're gonna pay those bartenders $6 an hour plus their tips, and then that's where you're living at a 15% cost, and then that's where you're gonna make your money, and then you're still gonna take 30% of my sales. Another guy, you can go fuck yourself also. I'm just saying, this is all.
No, I hear you.
It's
Yeah.
all like people selling a bill of goods. Sorry to go on a rant. It's been a while. I apologize.
I'm glad.
But you had a trigger word, Reef, food hall, dreams.
No, and you're not the only one, man. There was a couple people at your event, which I will not name, have had similar, stories. And someone else that
At
wasn't
our event?
Your event, yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah?
Well, personally, just I can't say how far along the conversation they went, but they fundamentally they just weren't aligned. The visions weren't aligned. There was someone that did go ahead and launch with them in multiple, I think over 30 locations throughout the U.S. And unfortunately, it hurt their brand because of the fact that,
of course, it did.
The consistency wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like, what do they care about? They just want to put the product out there so they can start making revenue, so they can start taking a percentage of your sales.
Right.
And then at that point, when they start creating revenue, what happens to their property value? It starts to go up. Because now they're receiving rent. They show monetary value on the property. Come on, man. And 30 locations? Like, man, you tell me 30 locations. Again, that's another scenario I want to fucking drive my head straight into a wall. Because it's like, I don't know if some person in Jacksonville is going to be treating my frita the way it should be. I need to be there with them at least for 6 months to make sure that they're treating my frita the way it should be.
Right.
So
you want to be able to train them, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, old school mentality is still the best. I don't care. A lot of things are new school and they're cool and they're fine and they're like woke. Right? Does the kids say woke? But at the end of the day, that old school training mentality, like, I need to sit here with you. I need to train you on this. We need to do it over and over and over and over again. If you're going to be the person that's going to be running this location, you need to understand X, Y, and Z. So
it was one of those things that was I guess it kind of sounded cool.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of things sound fucking amazing. And then when you get there, it's not.
Yeah. Turns out Santa Claus isn't real.
I mean, true. That's true.
So how are you working through these new projects then? If you're
I
not
gotta
going
tell
through...
You got to give this guy his own podcast. He is a great I feel like I'm getting interviewed right now. He's actually great at this, man.
I might give him one.
This
I might
is
give him
good.
this one.
Yeah. Cura the podcast.
We'll do that next. We'll do that next.
Cura the
Yeah,
podcast.
the Cura cast.
CuraCast. Done.
Done. Don't leave me.
Under the date umbrella. Don't forget it. We'll take 30% of your sales. No worries. I'm just kidding.
As
No,
long as I get more tea, it's fine.
Yeah. Nick takes 30% of my sales
Get you more
too.
tea? I don't know.
No,
how much tea
I'm
people
kidding.
drink.
Yeah. Nick takes 30% of my sales and they're nothing. So don't you worry about it. Sorry. But anyways.
That's patreon.com/DADEMAG.
Oh,
Get a
man.
mug every 3 months when you pledge $15.
What are these people going to do with all these fucking mugs?
Man, it's up to them.
I'll buy a mug back from someone.
No, listen, if you have too many mugs, you can switch to the Abuela Mami tier so you have something to put in the mugs.
You're just trying to drive people for more money.
I'll
Yeah.
subscribe. I want a mug.
Hey, listen, it's okay. You're helping us plenty here.
Hey, whoever's out there that has an extra mug, I'll buy one of your mugs off you.
Why are we buying mugs? That's
Because I want a mug. I'm not going to get on Patreon. Fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. At that point, I'll be in the negative here. I still have no idea what Patreon is.
It's OnlyFans, just no tits.
I just really feel like we should have an OnlyFans. Right? Pongo Podcast OnlyFans? Like, Petey the Dog OnlyFans?
You got to diversify. You got to see what the
Nick,
people want.
listen, Nick, listen to the man.
I know. I
He's
just
a
said I
business
don't have
owner for a
much bandwidth
reason.
for marketing. What I want is an assistant to help me put all of Petey's dick pics on OnlyFans.
Right.
That's what I want.
Hey, is this thing on? I think I clicked it off. Is it on?
There's no clicking it off. Yeah.
No? All right, cool. Just checking.
That's not a button.
I don't know. Sorry, what were you saying before
Yeah. So then, how are you?
I hired you for the next Dade Mag podcast?
Let me know. I'll be here. So that if you're not going the Reef Kitchens route, like, because their pitch has also been like, oh, we help lower the barrier to the cost, the upfront cost of starting a brick and mortar, right? So, and you got a ton of new projects. It sounds like coming up.
Sure.
How are you going about it?
I mean, we're just doing the work ourselves.
The same way you always do it.
Yeah, I mean, hire people, train people, control your menu, control the space, and I just don't like. I don't see where they help me at all. I don't see how.
No, that's.
Well,
that
I'm
makes
just
sense.
saying, like, expand to what? I don't really have a concept that I want to make 30 locations of either. I think all of our locations are specific to one.
Okay.
Maybe eventually there could be a couple of one or whatever, but I don't really see what we do that benefits them at all. They've also probably heard how much I dislike them. So
No, I'm sure they. Yeah, by now they have.
No, they have their director of marketing is like a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll pivot it away from Reef Kitchens again. They have a ton of real estate. It sounds like they're doing clinics. It sounds like they're doing a lot of things. So maybe it's just kind of one of those things that they're trying to figure out what works. But I'm more curious to know, how do you think about these new concepts? Like when you come up with this new project, what is it called?
Which one?
The thing start with a C?
Scoop?
Scoop?
Scoop.
Is it Scoop?
There's Scoop. There's Laurel.
Okay.
And Underdogs. But the one that we've been working on for 2 years now is called Chugs.
Chugs. That's the one. Chugs.
Not new. This isn't a new concept. We had this one for a few years now, but it was a pop-up, and then we closed it, and then now we're remodeling it to be big. So how do I think of these concepts? I mean, there's really only been like one concept that's ever been planned out for like years, which is this one.
This one right here. Okay.
Right. The other ones were, there's an opportunity for a space. What makes sense in this area? What do we think within those things that make sense fits who we are? And do we want to do it? That's how it works. And then, from there, like, I'll brainstorm and work, and then obviously we have an incredible team, and we'll brainstorm and we'll work through ideas and work through stuff. We have an incredible branding and marketing team. We have an incredible PR team, and it's just a lot of conversations and a lot of like, there's a bunch of people in the room that have been through a lot of different things, that know a lot of different things, and asking everyone's opinion. It takes a village, really. Mm-hmm. Chugs was a little bit more of an interesting story because it was like, there's a pop-up. They want us to do it for 6 months. It was very tiny. What do you want to do here? And I was like, we could do this, that, and that, And then we also had Gio's Pastelitos, and we needed a home for that. So it was a little more organic, and it was a little easier.
Okay.
Some of these other things, it was more like, there's a space. It's this big. What do you think are our options for here? And then it's kind of building from scratch, So.
Okay. So you learn about the, where you're going to build it. I guess it sounds like you
do like a good amount of research on the demographic of the neighborhood.
Right.
The area, you spend some time there. Like, I'll go to like a really like odd neighborhood and just spend like 2 hours at night and just kind of like looking around, walking around, whatever. And then also doing like actual study on the neighborhood, and then seeing like, what's the age demographics? What's the usual income of the average household, and so on and so forth, and what really fits here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that has to do with it. And also, I think most importantly is like, how motivated is the landlord?
Okay.
Like, how much do they really want you there? Because if you go out there and look for the opportunity, they're usually going to fucking hold your feet over the fire. But if they come looking for you, you have more firepower.
Right.
At a negotiating table, you can really dictate term instead of other way around. So,
I'm guessing right now the way the market is, it's not really favorable, or things are. It seems like the prices are just going up.
I mean, the commercial market's always been pretty lit up.
Okay.
Like pre-COVID, during COVID, they got a little more desperate, and after COVID, it actually, I feel like there was somewhat rectification to the commercial market. Now, personal, like, home property market, and that's completely different. The way both those markets, the way they react to what's happening in the world is completely different. Right now, you have a fuck ton of people moving, you have a fuck ton of people, like, I don't know, just changing their life. So that market is pretty lit up, but the commercial one, I think, actually got rectified a bit, and maybe in a better situation for us on the, ownership concept side, as opposed to the real estate concept side. Now, something else that we've talked about a lot, people come to you and say, I have a lease for like 24 months. You should automatically tell them to go fuck themselves. Because that's all they're trying to do, is to re-rectify to where they were before. Okay. And drive the market back up.
Okay.
So it's our job to not be dumb and say no. No, no, no. There's a lot of power in saying no. So, and just taking your time, because the biggest issue I see for like first time anyone owners or whatever is that they have a romance about their business, and I know it very well. Like, I'm still very much in love with my first concept, and I don't think that'll ever change. Nice work, Chef Danny. Keep it up. Doing a great job. You lost some weight? No, you haven't. I was just kidding. And not kind of falling on the sword and saying, like, this is the location, I don't care what the price is, because that shit's going to bite you in the ass down the road.
And have you personally seen firsthand Miami culture changing with everyone moving down? You mentioned a lot of people moving down. I've seen firsthand New Yorkers, San Franciscans, because of the pandemic.
Sandwich was delicious. Thank you.
Do you see it yourself?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, for a few months there, we were, like, real busy. But that was season time. I think right now it's, like, regular July time. I don't know. I don't really see it that much.
Okay.
I think, like, Miami, like, Chima is, like, very much, it's like wildfire. It's like, oh, this is happening because of this, and this is happening because of this. I feel like we're pretty much on par with how things have been in the past.
And last question. Where do you see the future of food going in Miami?
In what sense?
I love talking about this because from my perspective, at least from the little I know, is that Miami has always put a lot of emphasis on, like, the party scene and less so much on the food, on the quality of the food.
Sure.
Right? It's all about lights, cameras,
smoke and mirrors, sparklers on shitty cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are you seeing that change now?
I mean, I think that there's a forceful change. I think that there's a lot of people right now, a lot of young chefs and restaurateurs that are forcing their hand to change that. But you still have the behemoth beasts of what's been here before and what kind of like the stereotype of who we are really is. So I think it's an unseen battle between both sides. Doesn't that sound like an epic movie? Right?
The unseen battle.
Yeah, between good and bad. Oh, yeah, I like it.
All right.
Directed by Bancom Podcast.
Coming soon to an OnlyFans near you.
I think that there's people are fighting the fight to cook great food and provide great service and provide great cocktails and wine and so on and so forth. And then there's a good amount of people that don't give a fuck and they just do a lot of the other things really well, which is cool. I guess, if that's what you're proud of. And there's still a lot of people who do it.
Right.
I wish they would take a little more time on the other parts, but honestly, I can only control what I control, and what I control is my company. And what other people do, if they want to suck in certain aspects, they can suck in certain aspects. That's totally up to them. I know I can't sleep at night like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis into like old school foundationary hospitality. And I think that shit is timeless, you know? And, you know, they continue to try to drive the other aspects down our fucking throat, like, you know, Uber Eats and all that other trash.
Are you using Uber Eats?
No. Not in one location, no.
Oh, okay, cool. Amazing.
Yeah, no.
You're more sustainable. You don't got to worry about...
Well, and I know I've done this before, but we can rehash this. So, you add Uber Eats. It makes you busier, right? They take 30% of your sale, right? So where exactly are you making money? Because then you need to increase labor, right?
Right. When
you increase that labor to substantiate the sales of Uber Eats, you also increase your impact on paper goods. You increase your impact also on the planet. On top of that, because you're using paper goods, a lot of people use styrofoam, they use plastic. I'm not saying we don't use those things. We don't use styrofoam, but we try to use less of it. You know, the impact goes across the board.
Yeah, it does.
And so then it's the double-edged sword, right? So let's say you don't increase your labor, and you just say, okay, this is good because I'm making an extra $1,500 a night. But then you have people that come to your establishment, and then their experience suffers. So then their experience, because you're fulfilling Uber Eats orders that, again, is going to get picked up from some person that doesn't give a fuck what's in the bag unless they want some of that chips and guac that's in there, and they'll stick their digits in there and finger fuck it and eat it. Or are you going to pay attention to the guests that spent their time to get in their fucking car, spend their gas, get dressed up, or whatever, and come to your establishment and want to spend time inside of something that you built?
Right.
And it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So you don't increase labor, you suffer. You increase labor, you suffer. Where exactly is the benefit? I do not see the benefit at all.
That's a good point.
So I just like, and I would tell anyone from Uber Eats, like, I still don't get it. I get it for them, but I don't get it for me. They could say branding and marketing. So let's talk about branding and marketing, right? So then what the restaurant owner usually does, like, let's say I'm selling this chicken sandwich for $10, but they take 30% of that sale. So let's say I increase it by 30%. So now it's $13, and that's just a sandwich. Then you add fries, and that's another $5. Or let's say I charge $5 in the restaurant. Now I'm going to charge $7. So now they're at $20 for a fucking sandwich and fries. So then on top of that, you have to pay tax. You have to pay, I think it's like service charge and delivery charge.
Right.
And they have to tip the person that's delivering it. Right? So now their conception is that for that chicken sandwich and fries, and it doesn't matter how fucking banged up they were, because there's a good chance they were banged up if they're eating that by themselves. Like, they just spent $28 on a chicken sandwich with fries. So now the branding and marketing that you're putting out there to the world is that you sell a $28 chicken sandwich.
Yeah. It's not very accessible.
It's not very exciting either. It doesn't make me want to go, man, I can't wait to order that sandwich from Uber Eats again.
Yeah.
So Joe can deliver it to me. You know?
And the quality's not going to be the same. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one.
I also don't find it that tough, right? Because our food here, it doesn't belong in a box. There was once upon a time during COVID that we were building food to go in a box, and that was a challenge for us. But like, how do we do this? How do we do that? You know, how do we make it more interesting for the guests?
So you did your own delivery?
We did do our own delivery during COVID.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we didn't do Uber Eats either. I paid the extra insurance. I made managers, delivery drivers, paid for their gas, the whole thing. You know, we managed our own delivery service.
How was that?
Shitty. And I never want to do it again. I think there's
it's
certain
tough, man. It's not easy. Yeah.
Well, I think there's certain aspects that make sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so let me ask you, in your situation, you have a fulfillment center.
Yeah.
So then they handle all delivery for you.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that based here locally, or is it out of state?
It's in West Palm.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That's bad, no.
Yeah, that's good.
We drive up every week.
I'm interested, like, for your brand, do you try to work as locally as you can?
We don't have to. Yeah.
Well, I know that you don't have to, but I'm asking, do you make a point or an attempt to do that?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're from Miami. We love to be a Miami company. So we love to work with locals. This is something I wanted to ask you.
I'm worried.
No, because when we were talking about the reef kitchens, I forgot to ask you, but I've seen some restaurant owners explore the idea of spinning up another concept under their own roof.
Yeah.
So, is that something you've tried?
I mean, I've entertained that idea.
Yeah.
I've thought about it for sure. But, and I guess we kind of do that. Like, Gio works under the Ariat umbrella with Pastelito Papi for now.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see.
I guess maybe that's kind of the same thing. And people come and they pick up. Sometimes we'll deliver, but we'll deliver it ourselves.
But that's cool, because the future of food, I mean, you can, as a restaurant owner, really spin up as many concepts as you're able to do, as you feel makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's also very interesting. I've always been intrigued by the concepts that close at like 3. Because like you pay rent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and it's the same thing like with us, like Ariat never had a lunch business. And I tried for years and it just was never there. And I just had to cut it out. But, like we still pay rent during the day. You know, so there's other avenues and aspects that you could use that for, but you also need to have the infrastructure and be prepared to do that.
Right.
Because if you start trying to do something, you don't do it right, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. So, you know, when Area was doing very bad and Uber Eats was calling me at the beginning to do a thing, and I was like, well, what if we did this thing and blah, blah. And then I just realized so quickly how raw the deal was with Uber Eats, and I was like, fuck it. I don't even give a fuck. Fuck that. And then it turned into like a whole other different type of like how much I disliked them. But
But it turns out you didn't need them. Yeah.
I mean, I would prefer not needing them for sure. Nice work, Dan. Chef Dan. Love it. So, all right. Enough about me, man. Who gives a fuck about me? What's the next step for you? So you did launch with 3 creators.
Oh yeah, we have about 6 others who are preparing to launch. I just want to continue to launch new brands, help them launch new brands, people that align with our morals.
Yeah, you're all in.
Yeah, all in, man, all in. Eventually, who knows? Maybe we'll have our own actual Cura Market, brick and mortar, where you can find brands that you believe in. I'm tired of faceless brands. I like people to know who made the food, where it came from, who's the person behind it.
I mean, long term, that's going to be tough. I'm just saying, long term, that's going to be tough. If they want, let's say you open up a brick and mortar here, and then they're like, we love this. We want to do it in, I don't know, Boston.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. I mean, I believe that you can make it happen. I just know that it's tough.
It won't be easy. Yeah.
What are there any marketplaces right now that you enjoy?
Food marketplaces?
Yeah. You could say no. It's totally fine. I actually prefer you to say no.
Yeah, it's hard for me to find a good marketplace.
There you go. What is the one you dislike the most? Beep. It's okay. They probably don't listen anyways.
Yeah, I would say it's tough. It's tough to say. I mean, there's a number of, I think honestly just the...
And we're back. We just had to cut that piece out, everyone. Sorry so much. Remember to hit us up on Patreon.
We're going to need you at patreon.com/DADEMAG.
Not everything they do is bad. Some of it, we'll leave it at that.
Oh, man.
We'll leave it at that.
That's good. I've stuck my foot in my mouth a lot, but that was pretty bad. That's good. Anyways, we just all... so tell me...
Tell me why you love
Where do I start?
Oh, it's so refreshing and bold. Yeah, right?
Oh, man. I think I'm going to have that Negroni.
Let me ask you a question, though. When you say, like, when I think of marketplace, I think of, like, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
Publix, shit like that. Is that not how you see it?
No, I do. I do, yeah.
None of those people do a good job?
No, they do, man. They actually do. You can go to any of those places and find some good products, for sure.
I wouldn't totally agree any of those places, but you can go to, like, some of them.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are built for, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, it is the most streamlined, like, broad commodity shit you could find.
Right.
But even so, like, when you go to those nicer markets and it's, like, all fancy and nice and it's got a nice label, it's still trash when you read it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you read the label and it's got this beautiful thing and a beautiful bottle or whatever, and you read the label and you're like, what the fuck is all of this?
Right, exactly.
So,
and it's one of those things, because, like, you know this well, right? Building a business is hard, but building a good business is even harder, right? Because it's unrealistic to say. I mean, for the most part, business has had a negative stigma, but I think there's like a new wave of businesses where we're making. I mean, I would consider our generation to be a little bit more forward thinking, right? We want to do good. We want to build something we're proud of, right?
Sure.
Do less harm to the world. A number of things that we want to improve, and that's all. When I look at brands that are just looking at the profit margins and things like that, it's not the future that I hope for my family, for my future kids. I just want to be able to. There's so much power behind food, like very well. Food the linchpin to our society. It creates cultures. It, influences behavior changes.
It is the essence and the backbone of community.
Exactly. There's so much power behind it, right? And there's a lot of good you can do with that power, right? With great power comes great responsibility, but
within food, no matter what aspect of food you create, let's say the sauces with Chef Norman, right?
Yeah.
You create an opportunity for someone to have a special experience within their own home,
exactly,
within a friend's home, within a thing. That's what food does. Like here, what I preach to my staff all the time is like, we are fortunate and we're blessed to have the fact that there's people that come here every day that spend 2 hours, sometimes 3, if they're really getting into it, 4 hours of their time to forget about the world and to just be here.
Right.
Like that's incredible, and that's really what the essence of community is. You're just delivering that to people's doorstep, which is cool too. Like you can, again, it's a sample of an experience that people are creating somewhere else. And the fact that you're going to have a Norman product in California is amazing.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we're in the business of quality experiences. I think what we do is very similar. And we just want to be able to do that all, worldwide. And I think quality products really, it comes down to the ingredients, just the level of care you put into it, right?
Right.
I don't like to use the word healthy because it's a loaded term. What's healthy for one can be very unhealthy for another.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I mean,
you just look for quality. That's what we focus on.
So let's say long-term goals is to continue growing and to hopefully have a brick and mortar one day.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that goal for you.
Thank you.
Love that. Hope you get there. And tell me, I think one thing.
We'd also like to put a little clinic in that brick and mortar.
A clinic? Oh yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because food and nutrition and health, it's just like it goes hand in hand.
But when you tell someone a clinic, that you need to be more specific. It's like, I broke my ankle, I'm going to go to you, or like I need a health regimen and I need a meal plan. And listen, those are all like, I actually find that pretty amazing and super intriguing, because for me, someone that has a super fucked up schedule, like my dream right now is to have someone like tell me what the fuck I should eat every day, and I will pay for someone to like structure that for me.
Right.
Because like my eating habits and my days are super fucked up all the time. So, and I've gone through several steps and like I've seen several things. I personally feel very uncomfortable with all of it, right? Because I know about food, so I look at all of that and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So when you say clinic, if that's what you mean, I think that that's a great goal. But if you're trying to fix people's broken ankles, also that's cool, whatever you're into. But I'm just saying.
Not exactly that, but yeah, more or less what you said the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More like a nutritional clinic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's great. And actually having like face-to-face interaction with someone about your health is incredibly important. And if you were to create that inside of a market, even better, because people feel uncomfortable going into that scenario. But people feel comfortable going to buy bananas at the store. Same.
There's a lot we have to test to see whether or not this is going to work, but a lot to iron out. But anyway.
I think it's a great idea. I put my stamp on it. Done. Pancom Podcast stamp. Nick, what did we not do here? I know I didn't do plenty of things. The wind down. I want to congratulate Giannis Antetokounmpo. Did I nail that?
I think you got it.
Pretty close, yeah.
Man, that's good. That's good. Congratulations on their NBA championship. This was very, very similar to the 06 finals, I would like to say. Mavericks go up 2-0. Heat take 4 straight. As soon as they won Game 3, I was like, I don't know, this smells really fishy. And then they were just crushing it. I was pulling for the Suns. I wanted to see Chris Paul get a chip, but I honestly didn't give a fuck because the Heat lost in 4 a long time ago.
Right.
So.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Now we just got to watch fucking baseball for the next 2 months.
I won't be watching baseball.
There's nothing wrong with baseball.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not a fan of it on TV.
I know. You got to go to the game. You go to the games?
I haven't in a long time.
Okay, all right.
But I should.
We'll do a live podcast from the game.
I don't think they'd allow it, and that makes it better. I think we should start recording a podcast at a game and get kicked out on the podcast.
I actually think this is genius.
I think that's a great idea.
Where's Derek Jeter? Derek, let me in, bro.
We're just gonna be
Give us one of the boxes. They're not all being used. It's fine.
Roaming around Marlin Stadium with microphones.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love it.
So this is where we do the wind down, ladies and gentlemen. We start with our parting recommendations. We will all recommend at least one thing. Could be absolutely anything, as long as it's not yours. Could be a book, a movie, a travel destination, a meal, a workout, a condiment, whatever, that the people should try or do or what have you. Mike, do you have anything here?
Parting recommendations?
Yep.
Give me a second.
I'm going to recommend, and it's possible that I've already recommended it, but I'm deeper into it, and I still vouch for it just as much. Not the greatest thing in the world, but good enough. Superman and Lois.
Oh, yeah?
It's a CW series. It's got a little bit of that.
You watch CW series?
I'm
not against it. I'm just shocked, you know?
I don't, but my mom watches a lot of sci-fi, and superhero stuff is close enough to sci-fi that she watches it all.
Love that.
So when she heard that this was a thing, she started watching it, and she'll usually just record it and wait till I happen to be around having coffee at their house, and I'll watch it.
When are we going to have Maggie on the show?
Hey, you tell me. I have some family we should have. So there's Maggie's Kitchen.
Right.
And we can have Lucila on the show.
Man.
This is Miami Cake royalty here.
Lucila, that's right.
We can have Lucila on here.
Can't tell you a story.
Lucila, who also has a connection to Dave Arvello, because Dave Arvello's MMA client wears shorts that have her logo over his BB.
Oh, amazing. Good for him.
Apparently, Sweetheart by Lucila sponsors Elvin Something's BB.
Good for him.
And now has an OnlyFans.
Right.
You can check it out now.
So anyway, Superman and Lois, it's got a little bit of that like CW teen drama thing, but it's interesting enough to watch.
I got a parting recommendation.
Go for it.
I just watched the last season of Bosch. It's on...
I haven't seen it, but it looks good.
It was good. It was good. It was a good show. It was a good show, good season. I think they nailed it. I enjoy that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, go follow Chef Norman. By the time this is out, I'm sure the sauce will be ready, but you gotta try.
And at that point, we can know the price of it.
Yeah.
That's right. And he's doing all those cooking classes that he's doing.
He's doing the cooking classes.
Chef is killing it, man.
Yeah,
he's absolutely
doing things. And now, for our shameless plugs, you already have a foot in the shameless plug door.
Bam, 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 bam.
Tell everybody where they can find all of your stuff and give you all their money.
Well, our website, our main site is createwithcura.com. Instagram right now we're still Cura Market. More and more we're going just by Cura. But yeah, those are the two main places you can find us.
Those are the places. Mike, shameless plugs.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things. I still got to recommend all my shit. I mean, we've done this 80 times already.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things.
All the things. All the things. All the things.
All the things.
And then finally, I'll give you our shameless plugs. You can find this podcast that you're listening to now, so why should you have to find it? But at dademag.com/Pancong Podcast, we're Pancong Podcast. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to I want to point out that it's shocking to me that there was a congressional hearing yesterday and three former guests from Pancong Podcast were actually in that room. I find that shocking.
And one of them on a microphone.
Yeah.
And that one who was on the microphone today was at Versailles shooting, some people won't like this person, but was shooting Hannity on Fox News.
Whatever, man.
She was sitting next to Marco Rubio and Sean Hannity talking Cuba. I mean, listen, you take the Cuba message where you got to take it.
Honestly, I don't give a fuck who likes who or whatever. This issue is bigger than fucking parties. It's bigger than what
100%.
you like and what news station you fucking watch.
Yeah.
Like, get your head straight the fuck up out of your ass.
So we're talking
and
about
start
Rosa Maria Baya here.
Yes,
And
sorry.
Vicky Goyalo and Vanessa Garcia were backing her up. They were her, I presume, her bodyguards at the congressional hearing.
Bodyguards.
I kid. They were there. I'm sure they were helping her with all kinds of stuff in D.C., accompanying her and doing all kinds of Cuba stuff. I know they were leading protests and things. They were up to all kinds of goodness. So yeah, man. And not only that, also the Pan Con Podcast Network more broadly has really come through. This brings me to my next shameless plug, which I will also insert with an ad earlier in the podcast, so it doesn't have to wait until now. But just in case you somehow skipped over ads, I'm going to bring it up again. Cubadecide.org. Then go to the donate tab and mention Pan Con Podcast. Those funds will go directly to recharging cell phones for people in Cuba. In case you are finding us way into the future and going through our archives, this is the July 21st, 2021 episode. And at the time we're recording this, all kinds of protests are going down in Cuba. Cubans need our help with the cell phones. And that's what we've put our focus on in terms of, our little side project here. Cubadecide.org. Use the donate tab, or you can Venmo. You can find the Venmo information on Instagram. I don't want to say the Venmo here right now because I would hate for like 5 years from now Carmen to still be getting Venmo donations for this thing.
I mean, you think 5 years from now, people will still be listening to this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Petey's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm more worried about people listening to this and trying to, like, shut shit down.
Shut shit down?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what that even means.
They're always listening.
But then,
those fucking losers.
Patreon.com/DadeMag. If you want to support what we're doing around here, you can sign up for the Abuela Mami tier, which gets you a bag of whole bean Abuela Mami coffee every month. Mark your calendars. It's not final, but it's pretty close to final. We will be doing a live podcast. We will be selling tickets to this podcast.
Oh, man.
The podcast will be live, on location, at Maxwell Brothers Clothing Company in Palmetto Bay. God's country over there, Palmetto Bay. With John Falco.
And his puka shell necklace.
And his puka shell necklace. Please, Potters get a discount if you're a Potter. You're in the special fraternity with Falco, and you get a special Potter discount on these tickets.
I loved watching Falco go down at Pata Sucia Palooza. I loved watching him go down.
He went down.
And it was just like, as people were so mad, and they were just like, they were very sure of themselves, and I'd like to give them a gut check. I'd like to actually give a shout out to the team from Finca for winning that.
Took that trophy back to Finca Town.
They did. They took it back to West Kendall, and I did color commentary next to the legend Lucy Lopez, another former Pan Con Podcast guest.
We're everywhere.
We've got quite the resume. You're joining a historic group right now.
I'm excited. I'm honored.
Seriously.
And it was quite a time to witness, and people were upset when they lost, and I had to set things in order.
Can I ask you? Let's end on this question, an important Chugs related question. Since we're talking about trophies, will the pastelito eating contest be coming back?
It will be.
And where? Because I saw a picture that Gio posted, and I don't know if it was loaned to him for the day or what, but where is the Kubayashi Cup?
I'm not totally sure, to be honest. Caesar's supposed to have it.
Okay. Maybe he loaned it to
he may have
Gio.
loaned it to him. Gio may keep it at his house. I don't fucking know.
All right.
Gio right now is a wild man. He's just a renegade with pastelitos, just slinging them all over the city. I mean, it is absolutely incredible to witness.
Speaking of the vast reach of the podcast, Gio, the last time I saw Gio, we were engaged in a long conversation in Maggie's kitchen.
Oh, that's right.
About Guava George.
That's right.
We were talking Guava George and guavas and things with Maggie in Maggie's kitchen. So if you order a mango pastelito at any point in the next several weeks, maybe, it may have come from my mom's backyard, that mango.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So
yep.
They're good mangoes, I'm told.
It's, but your mom hates mangoes.
She doesn't hate mangoes. It's just there's always so many that eventually she's tired of mangoes.
Got it.
Well, we need
But
mangoes,
she didn't
man.
want mango pastelitos because she has like 4 mango pies in her
Got
fridge.
it. Got it. No, I
Yeah.
totally get it. I totally understand it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great.
Has been great. Thank you, Jose, for everything,
Thank you for having me, man.
for bearing with us,
Yep.
for bearing with Petey and all his delays. And that's it. That's
I
all
loved
got.
every minute of it.
That's a lie.
That's what we're gonna put that.
Not
at
the
top
first
of
time I
this
heard that.
Thank you.